So, Janet, we've been seeing in the news recently here a lot of news about coronavirus coming in, a lot of places going on, not lockdown, but like a lot of non-essential travel being canceled. And I think a lot of companies, a lot of marketing agencies out there just aren't really well set up for for this kind of thing. But we're actually, like a lot of people are talking about limiting non-essential travel, we're actually in a really good position for this because uh, we work from home.
Yep.
Maybe so. I thought it would be a really interesting thing for us to maybe talk a little bit about working from home, what's good about it, what's not good about it, and really give some practical tips for marketing agencies out there that are looking at a potential shutdown of travel in their area and how they can still get work done while coronavirus is around. And really, I mean, I think a lot of these tips still apply if you're going to have a water main break at your office, or the power goes out, or the internet goes out at the office. Like, we
Yep.
still need to be able to be productive in these times. And I think a lot of marketing agencies are looking out there for ways to do this. So yeah, so thanks for coming on. Maybe first of all, what's great about working from home?
Well, it's convenient for one. I personally love it. I'm much more productive when I'm working at home. There's less distractions working from the office or working from home versus the office. And I just find that I get a lot more done working from home. I'd say that's probably my number one. What
Yeah,
about
the
you?
productivity and not being distracted. Yeah, the one of the great things that I've seen is that, yeah, I can sit down and work on something for an hour and not have people coming by my desk and bothering me about things. And I think that uh, unblocked work is really nice. The other big pro, and this is a personal pro, is that travel time, like the commute in the morning. Now, in a large city, that can be a long time. Here in snowy Canada, sometimes if you get a snow day and you still got to drive into work, that commute can be
Yeah,
double or triple as long.
absolutely. Yeah, I
And
agree.
it's not if you can work from home.
Yep, that's definitely a plus, and it also I find again get more work done because that travel time I usually am in front of my computer working instead of in the car. So
hmm hmm And if anyone is just a little bit sick, they don't have this temptation of, oh, I'm just a little bit sick. I can still work. And then they go
hmm
into the office and they get everyone else sick.
yeah,
This is, at least if you can work from home, and that's an option. You're feeling a little bit sick. I think taking that option is in the business's best interests, and everyone else's in the
yes,
offices.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe we're both in marketing. Maybe we can talk a little bit about how this applies to marketing agencies, because a lot of our customers are in marketing agencies. They're marketers. Which roles do you think would be able to work from home very easily, and which ones are a natural fit for working from home?
Well, I think off the top of my head, designers, people who do SEO, programmers are also a good choice. Maybe project managers, but that depends on the agency, I think.
hmm Yeah, for project managers, they'd have to be really diligent in their follow-ups, and they'd have to like have those checkpoints and touch points with people frequently, and be ready, I guess, ready to share on a video call rather than in person at someone's desk, right?
Right.
Yeah, which roles do you think would be tough to uh, work from home?
Well, account managers, basically anything face to face. So sometimes sales with agencies is a face to face a situation,
hmm
but then that might be ideal for web conferencing, um, even if it's for a short amount of time. That could work for the salespeople for the time that they need it.
Yeah, yeah, getting like a GoToMeeting or Join.me or something, or a Zoom meeting, something that they can do from home
hmm
and virtually meet with their clients would work. Definitely for those projects that are still underway. I think we're probably going to see like a little bit of a softening in demand for sales over the next few weeks here, but
Yeah.
it's still a great way to meet with clients, and it's hey, bonus, you don't no travel time to the client's place, so so you can fit more meetings in. The salespeople can be
Yay!
more productive.
More phone calls.
Yeah, yeah. So let's get into how agencies can set up work from home fast. So this isn't going to be like we can't have all the best stuff because I think some agencies out there are going to be facing a lockdown. They might only have a day to set this up.
Mhm.
What main things would you think that people need to get going if they need to set up work from home in a day?
Oh, in a day. Well, they're going to need internet, Wi-Fi, setting up email, video, some sort of video software, or communication software like Slack. We use Slack. Oh, it's like put me on the spot. You,
Well, I think a lot of agencies out there like will have some of that technology. Some of them won't. I think the advantage, again, with agencies, they have a lot of that stuff that's already in the cloud,
mhm.
so they could just log into it. Like G Suite or Office 365, you can log in from anywhere, so you can log in from home and that kind of thing. I think one of the things you mentioned there, internet connection is important. I found that Wi-Fi is not super reliable, so I'm running a wire to my computer just because if I
Yeah.
need to like fully productive, I don't want the neighbors turning on the microwave to kill my internet connection in the middle of a client call.
Yeah, now that you mention it, I've actually gave up on just my Wi-Fi and I'm all wired up now
Yeah.
from my home station. So yeah, good point.
I suppose if it was if I was in a rush, I would just use Wi-Fi, but yeah, wired is the reliability is really
Yeah,
good.
and
Anyways,
for
yeah,
speed. Yeah.
yeah. Hardware, I guess, is another one you mentioned there. So
Yeah.
for some of the salespeople, they're probably in luck because they probably have like a laptop that they can just head home with. But they'll also need like laptop keyboards and trackpads aren't the
Mhm.
best, so they might need like a keyboard and mouse. Um, for the businesses out there, the one thing that they should probably think of is what are you going to allow employees to expense and up to one amount. You should figure that out fast because if people are saying, "Hey, I'm going to work from home," the next thing they're going to ask, "I need a keyboard and mouse, I
Yeah.
need a monitor, I need a phone,
Yeah.
I need all these other things." What
Earphones or headset or
headset? Yeah. There's
mhm.
there's going to be a lot of those things that they're going to want to expense, and some businesses that gain from this and want to have work from home, like they should think about whether they want to expense some of this stuff and the limits, like reasonable limits to put in
Right.
place, reasonable expectations. You don't want to have it where one employee goes out and buys a $300 headset, and now everyone else is like, "Oh, can I get one like that?"
Or got your system all like a gaming system now. That's awesome. That'd be great.
Yeah, exactly. So those reasonable limits have to be in there, I think. Webcams are a good idea too
Right.
because just being able to see people. I think a lot of people when they first get video conferencing going and instant messaging and that kind of thing, they think we'll just do the voice calling, but I really like the video calling.
Hmm.
You get the non-verbal body language from video, and without that, you really do miss a lot of the conversation that's actually happening, I think.
Yeah, I agree. It's really nice to be able to see people and put a face to the voice and yeah, you lose a lot, I think, without seeing the body language and the facial expressions.
hmm hmm What other kind of tech would they need? I suppose one thing that you'd need to do is just check like of the software that people use on a day-to-day basis for each role, what's in the cloud and can be accessed anywhere,
Hmm.
what's installed on the computer and licensed to the computer, because some of the software we use for professionals is is pretty expensive, and if
Yes. Hmm.
you wouldn't want to have to license everyone's computer and purchase all these licenses for a 2 or 3 week period, right?
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, that would be one thing to look at. I think a lot of people have cloud storage these days. So you have Google Cloud, Google Drive, you have Office 365 storage. So that's handy. For the agencies out there that are doing like high def video editing, that might be tough. You
Right.
might
Hmm.
you might need to figure out what you're going to do there. Maybe some sort of file policy because people are going like you're going to have to get some big juicy USB keys with these video files on them if your video editors and producers are going to be working from home on this stuff.
Yeah, anything that I think is really large files that take up a lot of memory and require a lot of memory and to render and work. Yeah, those are going to be the more difficult files to work on when you have to work from home.
Yeah, uploading and downloading from the cloud is going to take forever to do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then, yeah, I think again, a lot of agencies are on Slack. If they're not on Slack, they've probably got Google Hangouts Meet, or they've got something, or Microsoft Teams.
Teams.
There's lots of stuff out there that,
Hmm.
or Skype, like we're using right now. Normally
Yeah.
we do Slack, but we're using Skype just for these for this split screen video here. And then I guess we talked about meeting with clients using GoToMeeting or Zoom or Join Me. Some companies out there. So if you're in a small agency, you might just want to get one license and then share it with everyone. But
Hmm.
to do that, you need to make sure no one else is on it at the same
Yeah.
time. Yeah. So one
You
one
could,
thing that I was thinking about is you could just set that up as a room, like set it up as a board room in your Google Calendar or Office 365, and then allow people to book the board
book
room
in. Yeah.
so
So
that they can do virtual calls.
that's a good idea. Yeah. So there's not a mad panic when people are trying to overlap at the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, I mean, like
absolutely.
a lot of companies. Again, if this is going to be a short-term thing, they don't want to go out and buy a dozen or 2 dozen
Hmm.
licenses for this stuff if they
Yeah.
don't need them, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. While we're on the topic of channel communication, I guess the other thing that would be interesting to talk about was just expectations on when people will respond and how soon. Because in the past it was easy. It was phone, email, or walking over to someone's desk. But
Yes.
now in this
Hmm.
virtual age, we have more of those platforms. What's like a typical expectations on like instant messenger and that kind of thing?
Well, for myself, I mean, you we've done this for a while, so you kind of learn our patterns of who's like immediately replies and who might be away or doing something. But generally, I expect within an hour, a couple hours to get some sort of reply. Otherwise, I'm thinking that somebody's either out of the office, and in which case, all these platforms generally have a out of office, or I'm in a meeting or some kind of
Mhm.
status to let people know that I'm not available to chat right now. So I mean, there's lots of ways to mitigate where if you're not going to be able to answer somebody's question right away, you can just put a status so that people know where you are and that you will be back in 5 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think like setting those clear expectations out is a good idea. Some companies that really love policy might get to a point where they even have here's the expected time range to respond to a Slack call or a
Hmm.
video call. Here's the right time to respond to an instant message. Here's the time to respond to an email, and those times might vary. And
Hmm.
again, those times should vary because there should be a way of getting a hold of someone for something that's high priority, and then lower priority stuff, and that respects people's time and allows them to again make use of that work from home, where they can get a lot of focused work done and be very effective.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other things. I guess the other like we're talking a little bit about policy now, and I think that's the biggest gap for most companies. They don't have policies set up for work from home, and when they have people work from home, it's like, oh yeah, Bob's working from home today, which really means he's not doing anything. And I think that's a miss on management. That's just the company not having clarity in
Hmm.
roles. And really, like the nice thing about work from home is that work from home should help you set you up for contracting people as well, because the connection's the same, right? You need clear job descriptions, clear work activities, clear goals or KPIs for each different role. So it's all about clarity. If it's nice and clear, you won't have to worry about whether someone's doing their job, because you'll know it from that clarity that you have set up.
Yeah, and I think it's clarity, and there's like a bit of trust involved that
Hmm.
your employees are doing what they say they're going to be doing, and generally, I find that if the work is being done to the expectations of what that you've laid out, then I don't think that you have to worry about people. Are they attached to their station, for 8 hours a day? I mean, it's if the work's getting done and it looks great, then it doesn't really matter if they're there the whole 8 hour day kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a big difference from a bum in a seat for 8 hours, and I know
Hmm.
that person's working because their butt is in that seat. It might not be productive work, but I know I know they're working. Yeah, I think like for just to be clear, if you've got 24 hours to set up work from home, the one thing you'll really want to do is set up daily check-ins and weekly check-ins between your team leads or management and their teams, because that is the quick way to see what are people up to. So in your dailies, make sure people say what they're up to, what they're planning on doing that day, and if they're blocked in any way. And I think answering those three questions will really help management know what people are up to and not have to sit next to them or see that they're at their desk because they checked in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. And that just all comes down to communication, which things like Slack and Skype and Teams and all that. Those are great for that, because it's basically takes care of that, and then people can get to work.
Yeah, makes it very easy to get on those calls and get that face-to-face time that they think they're missing from from working from home, but they
Yep.
actually get it if
Yeah.
they really look. Yeah.
Yep. And if you're really missing, you need the feeling of being next to people or working in a group, in a room with a group of other people. It's get on the phone or get on web conference, and you can chat for a little bit. It'll make you feel better.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Some of the other things I'm just thinking of while we're just wrapping up here. Um, yeah, if your platforms are in the cloud, that's going to be a big advantage. Like we use Active Demand for our platforms, so for us, when we can send emails out, we can rejig remarketing campaigns. We can if we could access client accounts if we need to, all from one login. So that's a big advantage there. um, Calls in, because we use those tracking phone numbers, we could redirect those. So
Hmm.
if we had
Yep.
an office line where salespeople were at, and then all of a sudden they had to work from home, we could redirect those out to their cell phones or to their home phones, so that people calling into that general office line will always still get those calls, and
Yep.
salespeople can still sell and all that kind of stuff.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think that agencies out there definitely need those cloud platforms going. That's one of the advantages. People can work from
Hmm.
home, they can access all their stuff, and it's going to help keep them productive even during times like this where we might not be able to be in the office.
Yeah, and it's great time. If you haven't got the policy, you may as well, now's as good a time as any to have one put in.
Yeah, and get it in quick because
Yeah.
you don't want to be stuck in a position where you wake up one morning and you can't travel to work, and now everyone's stuck at home and they're not set up at all.
Yeah, and nobody's working
Yeah, yeah.
and nothing's getting done.